Hi, folks. My name is Dave Dienstag. I'm the founding member of jezail.org. It's an organization and a website dedicated to primarily examining events in Afghanistan and trying to translate the noise and static that we're hearing into an understanding of what is really at the bottom of what is now America's longest war. I originally volunteered to fight in Afghanistan as a kid in December of 1983. I spent time in the mountains with Mujahideen and Ahmed Shah Massoud's people, as well as working for years in Washington on the Hill with the Reagan White House, with members of Congress, that sort of thing. I was a young staffer and liaison between a lot of different interesting people. But I became aware after I came home that things weren't right. I mean, I turned in my rifle in '88, came home and decided to have nothing to do with anything and just live a normal life. About 1995, I read testimony by an American diplomat that claimed that the Taliban was not supported by Pakistan or the ISI, and basically laid out a lot of cover stories that were clearly false, and everybody should have known it. No one said anything. Since then, that has snowballed, and I've been writing about it and focusing on it for years. Practically since the beginning of the internet, I've had a presence out there, pretty much just on this topic. I try not to stray very far. InfoWars has taught me a thing or two. The idea that there is a globalist agenda out there was unknown to me in my early years. I became aware of the fact that there was something out there that was really messing things up. I mean, it really kind of surprised me that we have this clear-cut victory against the Soviets that came through Afghanistan, and it was very cheap for the American taxpayer, and it was over in a relatively short period of time. And the table legs from the Kremlin just came out from underneath them, and we were no longer having a nuclear standoff with the Russians for quite a few years. Nobody talks about that, like what went right with it when we're busy getting involved in all these long wars, not winning them, spending all of this money, and it just snowballs and gets uglier and uglier and uglier. The only presidential candidate who said anything was Rand Paul, and, well, you know, he was marginalized pretty quickly, wasn't he? Well, I believe that I am holding important puzzle pieces, and you guys probably ought to talk to me. I've been watching your broadcasts and paying attention on YouTube as best I can. I own a business and I have other things to do, but this is something of deep concern to me. And the diplomat I'm talking about has just resurfaced again. And let me give you some background on her. Her name is Robin Rafel. She is the disgraced diplomat who was busted by the FBI for being an agent or spy for Pakistan. They referred the case to the Department of Justice for prosecution. But Robin Rafel is a friend of Bill, going way back to his Oxford days. And that prosecution is going nowhere, just like all of the email issues and illegalities that everybody's seeing in plain sight everywhere. Nothing happens. Well, Robin's just resurfaced, and she's resurfaced in Doha. And this is what's the latest iteration of this. The talks in Doha are a show. They are not real. They are made to look like there's some kind of diplomatic progress being made. But the fact of the matter is, the Taliban disavow any knowledge of any of it, don't have their people there, and are wondering what the heck is going on. Well, Robin Rafel, even after she's been stripped of her security clearance and her diplomatic status, has shown up at these talks. And this tells me that this thing is really getting out of hand. As we face this election, no one talks about this. No one talks about it at all. I am very concerned, and I have a lot of information about a money trail from Pakistan to Washington, parallel to the Saudi money trail, about how the Pakistanis got their nuclear weapons, and a lot of knowledgeable people to iron this out. I mean, to lay out the case of a long, ongoing racket out of the AFPAC region. Robin Rafel is the central personality in all of this, although there are many others. It has evolved into a business consortium that has rotating members and all kinds of different things going on. People need to be aware of this because Americans, from time to time, get around to asking, "What the heck are we doing in that place?" You know, and she is probably the Rosetta Stone for finding the answer to that question. And that's what I want to bring to you as a first video. Hopefully there will be more. Hopefully you'll take an interest. Hopefully you'll visit. I have a jezail.org website that I put up many years ago. I have a jezail. I have two of them actually, jezail.org and jezail.tv. And I also have a Facebook page called jezail.org. And I really wish you would pay attention to that because you'll see some interesting stuff. I talk with diplomats, I talk with former spies, actually, and I talk with a number of people inside of Afghanistan, as well as Pakistan, as well as all around the world, who have been adding to my collection of puzzle pieces. And this is the jezail.org beat. And all of us collectively make up this thing called jezail.org. And we'd like to get on your radar because we think we're seeing aspects of the same globalist agenda that you guys have so plainly identified. And thank you very much for your work, by the way. It's taught us a lot. I mean, when we first looked at this stuff, we just saw this anomaly that we couldn't explain. We had no handle on what on earth was going on, and we had this war in Afghanistan where allegedly the Pakistanis are our allies, but they're not really because they're supporting the Taliban and all these other contradictions. I'd like to flesh that out. It really needs to be an issue at this point, and I could use your help. And I think you might be able to use mine, because I think we're seeing different angles of the same thing. Thank you.